Action activate.
Hey, what's up, I'm Gazbot, and I'm here for Action Activating. With me, as always, well, it's
Big Dawg Defender. I'm here, ready to roll for Action Activating.
I just wanted to start quicker than we usually do.
Hey, it's all good. You know what my response to that is? Coolio.
Don't. So we are here to talk about Dino Fury Episode 4, which is entitled New Recruits. Because of the world we live in, everybody knew that we were going to get the Green and Black Ranger before this episode even aired, which is a bummer, but we knew it was coming. Do you want to give just brief thoughts overall before we get into the nitty-gritties?
Yeah, I think even knowing that, I did like a lot of the aspects of it that weren't spoiled for me. Mm-hmm. Like, I knew that they were going to be in this episode. Everything leading up, I did not guess or kind of perceive, so that was pretty cool. And as I was watching the episode, Mrs. Big Dog said, "Are you going to say that during the show?" I was like, "I'm going to try to say it before Gazbot, yes."
So you said before that you always tend to sit down with episodes that are not particularly good or whatever, and Mrs. Big Dog's like, "Oh, this is terrible." So did she watch this one with you? And if so, did she? No.
So I was watching it in bed, and she was getting ready to leave for the day and just, get dressed and brush her teeth and whatnot. And she was like, "Oh, I'm cringing so hard," just from like the intro and stuff like that. And then like as the episode went in, it was like 3 minutes, and she already asked like 4 questions. So I paused and I'm like, okay, you either make fun of it or you're invested and you have questions answered. You don't get both. And then she like rolled her eyes in concession and then kind of went back to do her thing.
Oh, which is the opposite of what you wanted. You wanted her to go, "Okay, I'm invested. Let's go."
No, I think later she might ask me, or if I watch another episode, like, "Wait, so what's this guy's deal?" and blah, blah, blah. Because as we get into the beats of this episode specifically, she was like, "Wait, is that guy the alien? I thought this one." And I'm like, oh. But overall, we'll give our full breakdown at the end. But I was fairly pleased.
Fairly pleased. Yes, me too. I would say I'm thinking if I liked it more than fairly pleased. I'll say I was pleased. How about that?
This is another one where I know how I liked it. Us talking about it may make me like it more. I honestly don't think it'll make me like it any less.
I agree. And I'm not going to make a hard case for this is the best episode I've ever seen. Let's get into it. Yep. I'm going to play it over here on the side. Let me turn that off. Can you hear that at all?
A little bit.
Okay, now you can't. Good. So I'll throw it up real quick. What I liked here is that it started with the bad guys, which we haven't seen in a little while, and they're working on the new villain, Boom Tower.
Yeah, who I love.
What?
I love.
Oh yeah, I love his design. I liked him. I like his like a crazy mohawk, and he kind of looks like a Roman, but he's a knight. I guess knights had that too, but he's got these like rockets on his back, which I want to see at some point. He's just like poof, and like flies forward. I don't know if that'll happen, but it looks cool. And they're talking about how they could power him up even more. Now, here's the question. I forgot to watch the credits. Do you know who does his voice?
No.
Me neither. That's why I was like, oh, I forgot to check the credits. We have been speaking with Campbell Cooley, who has not said he has a voice, a role in this other than as a assistant ADR director or whatever. But people want to know if he's in it. We want to know if he's in it. We're speculating. And I was like, could this be him? But it either isn't him, okay, or it is, but he's doing such a good job that having interviewed him twice and watched other shows, I'm not sure if it's him. So either, oh, bummer, it's not him, or kudos, because I couldn't tell. So I guess somebody in the comments will tell us, and or we'll find out right after we get done with this, because like I said, I thought of this after we started recording. But anyway, after that, they go into actually, there's that other Sporix that they had introduced. What's his name?
You know the funniest part? I made a joke to Mrs. Big Dog about this, and now I don't remember.
You don't remember his name? Well, I don't either, but I wrote it down. Dragnarok.
Dragnarok.
And no one could remember his name, which I like.
I loved that joke.
It's a running joke.
So great.
Yes. And it doesn't require any knowledge of the world or pop culture or piñatas. It's a joke anybody could make, and people forget his name, and he's very sensitive about it. And I think it's funny because he's a throwaway monster of the week, as it turns out. So why would they remember his name? He's not that important, but to him, he's like, I have a name. They're like, yeah, whatever. You're going to be gone at the end of the episode, buddy. Like,
yeah,
so
it
I
was,
really
it
like
was
that.
very meta, and I appreciated this humor this early in the episode.
Absolutely. And I will say, spoilers, with one exception, I enjoyed the humor throughout this episode. I think it was one of the best.
You and I are 100% aligned on that because I guarantee you it's the same thing.
Yeah, I'm sure. But then we cut to the Rangers, and they're talking to Zeto about how to like do his resume, and it's that standard trope you see in sitcoms all the time, where it's like he has no experience. Like, well, you drive a Zord. Oh, you live a fast lifestyle. Things like that.
Yeah,
fine, whatever. That wasn't super funny, but then Zeto meets what's her name, who runs the office. What's her name? Not Jayborg, but the human. I always forget her name. Anyway, the lady who runs the office, Jay Lady. And he's like, what does he say? Coolio. Right. And everyone's like, and then it turns out Ollie taught him that, I guess, to be cool at some time before. It obviously wasn't cool. He couldn't pull it off. And then one of my favorite jokes in the whole thing is he's like, don't tell, I'm looking down at my nose. Don't tell Amelia that I taught you that. So then he does cool again. And she's like, what is that? And he's like, oh, Ollie taught me that. So sells out Ollie, like this wasn't my joke. And then says, Amelia, you didn't hear that, or I didn't tell you that, or something. I thought it was great. Zeto, this is my favorite episode with him so far. I really like him more. I think they're doing a good job of giving him that stranger in a strange land humor that they did a little bit with Andros, but again, I think they're doing it better here.
Yeah.
But he's not the butt of a joke. He's just like, he's trying to fit in and he's doing goofy stuff, but he kind of knows he doesn't fit in and that makes it okay. Yeah. And he's still competent. And he's like, okay, I'm making dumb jokes, but I can still show you how to throw a spear because I'm a knight. Yeah. And like, so I don't know. This is the most I've liked his character. I think they're like round.
I think I want to say episode 2 was my favorite with him specifically, but I still loved him in this episode. But just like, what's your favorite? I liked him too, where he was like full blown. I'm the Red Ranger. Let me show you how it's going. Yes. Not keeping a beat personally, but I do agree he did do great in this episode.
That was a good like badass. Like I'm a Red Ranger, but this is more the that's like, oh, what a cool warrior. This is like I'm starting to like the guy. Is what this is. And actually, we forgot to mention because that was because we know that was also the introduction of the Black Ranger who was like playing a harmonica and just kind of like, hey, I'm going to be the cool Ranger, just so you know,
with a leather jacket and my earring.
Yeah.
1996.
And then so with Green, which actually I'll throw this up right now. So we meet Green, and again, even if we didn't know they were going to be showing up this episode, they're both prominently featured, the right age, the right attractiveness and athletic level, and one's wearing black, one has green. So you kind of, this is, unless they were trying to deliberately throw us off,
One note I want to make is this is right around the time that Mrs. Big Dog had the impasse with me of, are you invested or not? Where she's like, I don't know what you're showing me.
That was a commercial that came up on the.
He was like, hey, they're not all in high school, right? Because this dialogue is something else. I'm like, not all of them, just her. And she's like, okay,
good. Meaning she did not like the dialogue.
She thought some of it was cringy, but because a lot of this is subtext where I'm like, Zeto is 65 million years old and just got unthawed, all right? Give him a break. And it's Power Rangers, double break.
And Izzy, the future Green Ranger, is clearly like a little bit put off by the fact that he's a reporter and is a little bit no nonsense, snarky. So like the combination of the two, you're gonna get a weird. But I like that combination where she's like, "Come on, what do you do?" Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, "Well, I can help for real." And she's like, "Oh, you did." Oh. And he's like,
that was one thing I liked to your Stranger in a Strange Land thing about Zeto is even though like that was my problem with Andros. They made him too derpy. Like he's like, I don't know what a banana is, and like this.
Right.
Is like, I don't know like how you guys get jobs and stuff, but I understand normal interactions with people where it's like, I'll help you, you help me. Okay, I'm a knight who knows how to throw spears. This is a javelin. Yeah. Which, to be fair, that was one thing I'm like, I don't care whether you believe he's a knight or not. People are allowed to throw spears, and like you throwing a javelin, I think is more weird because I have never met somebody who's thrown a javelin ever in their life.
I haven't met anybody that throws a javelin or a spear, to be fair. But if you were the type of person that does that, you shouldn't be weirded out by it.
Yeah, like
I throw this. This is what I do. You can't possibly do this.
Yeah, this is my thing.
I was wondering because I don't know. I was wondering if the actress that plays Izzy actually knows how to throw the javelin. Like, because they show her actually like, run and throw it. And I'm like, that looks believable, but it could be like, if you actually know what you're doing, it's like, that was horrible. That was the worst, like.
It was half and half. I've only thrown a spear like a handful of times in my life. And one of the times was to try to not do a bunch of push-ups and I lost. So I learned very quickly what not to do. But what I've seen is like, you do want to have it at an angle so it actually sticks as opposed to going flush. So that for this actually made a little bit of sense.
Well, but that still doesn't answer my question. I still wonder because most Ranger actors have an athletic background, usually martial arts. But maybe she was a javelin thrower, the actress. I don't know. That was really like, and I just don't know. But like it fooled me, as someone who knows nothing at all. And then, they're getting their call there. I was going to try to put up something else. So we confirm around this time what a lot of people suspected, that Izzy, her dad, is the park warden that we've been seeing.
Yes, that was an interesting twist that I did not see.
I thought a lot of people, because didn't we know her? Oh, maybe did we know her last name? It's Izzy Garcia, right?
I didn't put two and two together.
Oh, maybe I guess I knew. Well, I suspected that, and I guess other people online did too.
Well, that was the thing. Is they're like, oh, Park Warden Garcia and Izzy Garcia. I did not put the two together.
I mean, Garcia is a fairly common name, but two main characters in the show. It seems like. And we're jumping ahead a little bit, but what I didn't see, and they say it's her stepdad technically, but it seems like they have a good relationship because she doesn't call my stepdad. She's more like, oh, my dad. Well, technically stepdad. But then they reveal that, spoilers, Javier, who they call Javi, he is her brother. And so it's both their father. So that I didn't see coming. That there were.
I didn't at all. I actually really liked, and it was one of those things that took me out of the action slightly just because I did one of these. When was the last time we had siblings that were Rangers together?
The only ones I could even think of, well, there's RPM, Jem and Gemma, but they were sort of like experimental people. Like it wasn't like a normal relationship.
It wasn't as organic.
Right. Well, yeah, it just because of the types of characters they were, it didn't feel like, oh, a brother and sister got powers. It was more like they were this experiment that grew up to be what they were supposed to be, kind of. Yeah. And the only other one I could think of was Andros and Astronema. But while she eventually became a Ranger, they weren't on the team together. Yeah. So there might be others that I'm not thinking of, but those are the ones that come to mind. But I like it. I like, why not have a different type of relationship?
Yeah, sure. I agree that. Oh, I know one. Never mind. What? There is another one that you haven't seen.
Oh, so Mystic Force then.
It's not a huge spoiler alert, but yeah.
Thanks, but that's the only season I haven't seen, at least the beginning of. So
true.
It used to be a bigger thing. Now it's basically the middle to end of Operation Overdrive or Mystic Force are the only things that could be spoiled for me.
Yeah, it's interesting just because until we talked it out, I didn't think about it, and also from what I've seen from Mystic Force, it played some plot points, but like I didn't find it as impactful as this.
Gotcha. Well, we don't know how impactful it will be, but at least the reveal was. So we see Javier is like doing the typical civilian, like, oh, I got to help somehow, like, civilian that's going to become a Power Ranger.
Yes.
But I will say this. I didn't like Boom Tower got his power up. I mean, maybe there's some special method he has to use to ingrain, but it looks like he just chunks it in here. And he has it for a really long time.
Yeah, just like, I'm going to put this bowling ball in the old barrel,
Right.
And Boom Tower.
And again, we're jumping ahead to later, but later on, before it gets destroyed, he looks like he's about to insert it into himself. So it does seem like that's all he has to do. But he spends so long messing around with it.
Very anime.
Yeah. And that kind of annoyed me. Hold on, I'm gonna back this up. I also was a little bit a little bit bothered by the fact that they all used power-ups again, like they were nothing. One was reused, and the other two. Oh, was the shield reuse? I thought this one was.
I thought that was reused, and I thought the speed was reused.
Maybe I'm kind of here. That kind of comes to my point. I did like that move there. I put that up because it did look cool, but it goes to my point that there's so many power-ups flying around without any real explanation that it sort of becomes meaningless. Yeah. Some of them look cool and stuff, but I wish we knew who had what powers or what they just sort of throw it out there. And like they're adding to it, and it just dilutes it and makes it less cool.
Yeah, I think it's a thing where there's no drawback that we're aware of. And
Right.
also, the thing that bugged me about it wasn't as much that they have these power-ups that are getting watered down as we find more. It was that she literally had a super speed power-up, and in no way, shape, or form did she just grab the bowling ball.
Yeah, well, that's
He was like,
true.
flash, 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 flash. And he's like, whoop, burp, burp, I dropped it, boom tower. Dragon Bot, go get the bowling ball. Burp.
Yeah. I agree with that. But honestly, I was more thinking like more power-ups again without, like, and you're right. I guess some of them are reused, but it just doesn't feel special, like there, like you said, there's no time limit. There's no earning it. There's seems to be an unlimited amount back at base that anybody could use. So it's not horrible, but it just, I don't know. I feel like it's
to me, because I have a problem with that trope in a lot of seasons. The thing that I gave it slight credit for is they pre-established it, as opposed to in the Megaforce seasons where Ghost is just like, hey, guess what? Surprise! There's more. Whereas this, it's like, we
know there's more.
We have all this stuff, so it's not a secret to me.
Right. And that does make it better. I 100% agree, but it doesn't make it great. It just means, okay, they've explained it, it's not terrible, but I can't help but, again, feel that it doesn't feel special, or it just seems like it feels like it's their normal powers as opposed to a power up, which maybe that's what they're going for.
Mind is, think about this, where this is essentially Dino Fury 2, and we just never saw 1. Because Zeto was on a full team, for all we know.
And so Zeto knows how to use them, but I feel like he would still have to be like, guys, you better train with this, and here's how you do it. Or again, I'm trying not to sound like it's too negative, because it is better than Megaforce, and it's just, it's not even terrible. I just feel like it could be better and more impactful.
I know that, but similar vein of Lost Galaxies is a prime example. Everybody had to go through those struggles and get their sword, and stuff, and then Corone did something, got the sword, instantly had the Lights of Orion and all that other stuff.
Yeah, but that was behind the scenes. We know they had to write that in because the first actress got sick, and I'm allowing, because Corone was already a super villain, and she's the sister of a Power Ranger, and she has all this stuff going for her. So she's able to skip a couple steps. It's not like this is the first time she dipped her toe into this world. So I was fine with it.
In space, same thing. Andros had the Galaxy Gliders, and he had the weapons and all that, and everybody else kind of just got them.
I didn't consider the Galaxy Gliders a power-up. That's just like a vehicle. That's like having a motorcycle or something.
So are the keys to them, because they don't have other vehicles.
All right, well, let's no, you're not getting a Ninja Steel. I'll let it go, but that's not
if you guys think I should get a Ninja Steel point, please tell us down below so that you are an unbiased third party, and Gazbot and I can move on.
So we're just going to wait now?
We are.
We're going to wait in real time, even though they can't comment until later. All right, so the other thing is Black had used Javier, I should say, used the Power Ranger hotline to call when he saw what was going on. So that, again, a callback to that.
I actually missed that. So good catch on your end.
Okay. Yeah, I don't deserve an additional point for that, but we're not going to start throwing away.
Paying attention and doing my normal reviewing.
Yeah,
get out of here.
They did bring back the Dragnarok joke again during that fight, which is pretty cool. Yep. Also, going back to Dr. Warden Garcia, he shows up, and it's a little bit weird because he shows up and he's like, hey, that's the property of so-and-so. And it's like, on the one hand, he's like a game warden. He's like the park warden. Why is he tracking down a monster thief, whatever? Here's why. A, he's a main character or a secondary character that they want to include. Behind the scenes stuff, the character originally was written to be a police chief, or a police officer at the very least. That got changed at some point after a lot of scripts were done. And this is coming from, what's the producer's name? Simon Bennett? Is that his name? The new producer? So. He had said that, I read it on Twitter, so I'm kind of half getting it wrong. But basically, the character was going to be a police officer. They wrote a bunch of scripts, and then they changed it. So they changed it to say game warden and stuff, but it was still police officer so-and-so shows up as stop thief. So now it's game warden so-and-so shows up as stop thief. So that's why he seems to be a little bit more proactive than your normal game warden would be, or your normal park ranger warden, whatever. Why did Boom Tower not? I have a note. Why did Boom Tower not install the Neophyte immediately? Nephrite, whatever it is.
So after this, we find out that the Rangers fight, the The bowling ball gets stolen. Javi drives off, and he's like, "No, don't go!" As he's like on the ground, all like getting knocked. Warden.
Oh, the warden.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, wait, Javi's saying
don't go. And that's where I'm like, why does he care so much about this? And then they're like, connection.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, makes sense. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with both those things. And one thing I think is worth mentioning, another joke that I liked. She went, "It's Morphin slime."
Yeah, I like that too.
Loved it. So again, the humor from the beginning, it's been sort of like there's been some good stuff, some bad stuff. This one, I think it's starting. The good is definitely more than the bad in this episode.
Yeah.
I like just about every joke, and that was one of them. After that, so we get through all that. They take Garcia to get some help for his head or whatever. Yeah. And then we cut to a news feed with Jayborg and Buzz Blast.
Isn't that? Oh yeah, this was in the middle. I thought it was only at the end.
It's two. They had two segments.
Yeah, I know. I apparently suppressed one and forgot about it.
Why is Jayborg a reporter now? Is my first question. No answer. Okay. I don't have an answer either because she's hiring reporters and she's like, oh, I don't have two jobs. Now, I guess granted that she has this robot, but like the robot's supposed to be like her assistant to help her do super speed file. It's one of those things where again, like, what is the robot's job exactly? And knowing that she's so awkward, why is she going on camera other than for comic relief for us?
Every scene with Jayborg, this is the easiest thing I can equate it to in an analogy, where you're hanging out with either friends or family or something, and your annoying little cousin or somebody's little sibling is forced to play with you, and like you don't want to because you don't really talk to them or anything, and somebody's like, no, like, put him in. No, put Jayborg in the episode. No, people don't like Jayborg. No, it's fine. Jayborg has to be in it. No, like Jayborg really is the worst part of this entire series. No, it's fine. And then they keep shoving Jayborg at us, and it's like, I don't want Jayborg. Just get rid of Jayborg.
I don't 100% agree with you. I mostly agree with you. Like, I'm not a big fan of Jayborg. I don't think Jayborg has to be out of the show. I think they need to use her differently. I'm fine with her being
gone because they haven't shown a reason she should be on the show.
Well, at this point, they'd have to write her out in a way that made sense. If she just disappeared, that would annoy me too.
Okay, Jayborg's gone.
No, but well, that brings up something I'll talk about later. But the joke they had this week didn't bother me as much as the one last week, where she's like, read the teleprompter, and of course, like, read exactly what I said on the teleprompter. So of course, something's going to go wrong with
this one was okay,
and it was okay because she's doing what she's supposed to, and the keyboard, and even like Buzz Blast lady knocks over her drink on the keyboard. It's a little bit telegraphed. You saw it coming, but it's fine. And it's like the whole joke, given the setup that we're going to have this robot that does goofy stuff, was one of the better ones they've had. I think maybe the best. But what's interesting is I was like still a little and I realized weirdly that they have like the goofy music. Like I don't remember, it was like, and that kind of made it worse to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was the cue for like the kids, like, this is funny, laugh at this. And to me, I'm like, this is mildly amusing. I'm fine. I could let it go. It's not that bad of a joke and they're doing their thing. But the fact that they're like, ha 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 ha, I'm like, it made it less funny.
Yes.
By putting that goofy music on it. Whereas if they just had like regular soundtrack, it would have been more of a dry, funny, but I guess that's because it's a kid's show. But I also keep coming back to in the interviews when they said, or he said, like, we used to have this mandate that you had to have comedic characters. And now we just let everybody be funny. And it's like, well, then what is this comedic character? Comedic character, depending on your taste. But like, I don't know. I don't get it. And they are a duo too. Like, it's not just, it's exactly what you said you used to be mandated to do that now you're not mandated to do. So I don't know. It just makes no sense to me.
And that's the other thing too, is when you see, I keep forgetting her name that starts with a J. She has a couple decent one-liners when Jayborg is just forgotten and not in scenes.
Yeah. And again, I don't need them off the show. Like, I think they both do good faces and could be good comedic actors, but it's just, I don't know. It's weird.
It's weird. A thing where it's funny that this weekend on HBO Max, the Snyder cut of Justice League released, and everybody loves additional footage. I want the not Jayborg cut of Dino Fury, where you take any Jayborg scene out, it's like, wow, this flow is phenomenal. There's no bad jokes right now. Because if you take out literally every Jayborg scene, it's a better show.
I think the thing is also, while the Buzz Blast woman, she connects to the main plot, the scenes with her and Jayborg barely do. Like
They
this
don't
one,
at all.
in this one, you can completely cut them off. In the other episodes, they did share a scene with the Rangers, and they were like vague, like kind of connected. And you would argue that other comedic duos are like, well, okay, Bulk and Spike, for example, and Samurai, had like 2 interactions ever. Like they were literally filmed separately. Didn't matter. I found them more entertaining. Other people might not, and that's fair too. There's definitely a sentimentality of seeing like, oh, Bulk's back. But again, as we progress with the shows and the action, the level of writing, it becomes less acceptable. And if you're gonna have this stuff, then connect it to the main plot more. Like, but I guess
that would be funny.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough because are they better or worse than Ben and Betty? Like in some ways better and in some ways worse.
I think overall worse, but also I'm
in some ways better
episodes versus 2 seasons. So
yeah, I could think of cool things Ben and Betty did and terrible jokes, like cartoony flipping around jokes Ben and Betty did. But then it goes back to, well, if she's this robot, then it makes less sense that she's goofy. So I don't know. It's tough. It's the comedy in Power Rangers has traditionally been very hard to crack. They've done it a few times, but more often than not, they fail. And yet they put it in every season. I don't know why. But this season, like I said, overall so far is doing pretty good with it.
Because, like we said, the best comedy is not from the comedic duo.
Right. And so the Rangers have some funny one-liners. The monsters have some funny banter. Like, it's all work. And again, like you said, it feels more organic that this is just people making jokes because in the world, people make jokes. What's interesting, Javier, who they call Javi, he's a musician or wants to be a musician. And so he runs away with the ball and they're like, oh, I know where to find him because he likes to play music, but my father thinks it's a waste of time. So he goes to hide. And I'm like, wait. Didn't we just have that last season?
Yes.
This season, Javi's father, who was a cop and is now a game warden, I keep saying game warden, a park warden, his father thinks that his art of music is a waste of time, so he hides it, and he's a ranger. Last season, we had not Javi, but Ravi, whose mother was a military commander who thought his art, which was painting, was a waste of time, and he had to hide it, and he was a ranger. It's like,
hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, just make sure you change it a little bit.
Yeah, okay, make him the Black Ranger.
One letter.
Yeah, it's
art of music versus art of drawing.
Yeah, I was like, oh boy, that's pretty blatant there.
I didn't put that connection together until now, but it makes it that much worse. Also, I don't like the warden very much, and I hope they do something that changes my mind. Which I have a feeling
didn't like Ravi's mother very much.
Well, because she was a dingus sometimes.
Well, I'm just saying. You didn't like her in that scenario. You don't like him in this scenario. Because
the things I didn't like about her was not necessarily the stuff with Ravi, but like she sometimes would just make decisions where I'm like, literally every person smarter than you is telling you that that's a bad decision, and you keep doing it.
Yeah, that was Beast Morphers. Anyway. This guy still has a chance. I may have mentioned this last time, but I wish this guy was sticking around the Sporks, Dragnarok.
Yeah.
I like that he's so different. He looks like a dinosaur kind of monster. He's got that whip tail and the beam attack. And he reminds me of an Ultraman kaiju.
I was about to say, he looks like a modern Ultraman villain.
Yes. And that's like, so I wish he would stick around a little bit more because he's just different, Maybe we saw him gigantified, whatever they call it, in like the flashback or something, but I definitely feel like I want to see more of him or more monsters like him because like the first couple didn't impress me and I'm like, oh, these are Sporks. So the fact that he looks a little different, a little more vicious, like that's what I feel like Sporks should be. Yes.
So right here, we get the Rangers fighting in the woods. I like this fight. This fight overall is very good. I don't know why the harmonica works only on monsters, but
and on both of them, not just one.
Yeah. Good guess there, Javi.
Yeah.
Good job. I think it would have been better if they threw out a like useless one-liner of him doing that, and it's like, how'd you know that was going to work? I was just trying to be a distraction.
Yeah, I agree. That would have been great. That would have been, or he's like, I accidentally hit the wrong note, or just anything.
Like a little out of tune, and it's like, no, keep going.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. That would have made it better, but I do allow it because we had him doing that. We had him, and then we had Izzy also threw javelins. They've had their heroic civilian moments, and they're like, we got to have them do stuff to like prove that they're worthy and everything. And then when they're running around, it is a good fight, and I like they did a good job of having like the fight going on in the background while we see them like chasing the ball and everything. Like I always like that. And then here we see she's like, this thing is powerful, and like nothing's happening yet, but you see like green energy washing over her.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be a thing where, oh, this is the green key and she's going to get the power and then he'll get his later somehow. which I kind of thought would have been cooler, but
Yeah,
whatever.
nope. You just 2-for-1 special.
Yeah, he smashes it open, and both keys are there, and then they have their little instamorph situation. There was good villain banter here too. I forget exactly what they're talking about, but they were making fun of not remembering the name and like just busting on each other, which I liked. Why does Ravnica hurt him? Who knows? Okay, so then he smashes it. Oh, sorry,
Yeah, so they smash, they morph. Cool beans. The thing that I loved, once again,
yes,
2-second explanation.
And oh, not that. It keeps coming up with commercials. I don't know why. And this same lady, get out of here, lady.
What's it for? Is it for like taxes or something? That would be my assumption.
I keep skipping it.
All right, so they get their morph on in a moment. Like, hey, cool, you guys are Rangers. Cool beans. All right, thought those were lost to time. All right, they morph. And then, boom, right here, we're waiting a sec.
Yeah. And everybody's commented on this, but for good reason.
Boom. She is in a, quote, female ranger costume with a skirt.
Which we saw in the flashback, too.
Yep. So it's, hold up.
Yes.
Rips the skirt off because she's like, I'm not into skirts.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. We have continuity in the Sentai. Woohoo! Yes. Everybody wins.
It's great. It's great. It's great. It's great. And I love that she didn't go skirts are stupid or something like that, because we have the Pink Ranger who has a skirt, and it's not like, hey, you could wear a skirt if you want to. Like, we don't need to shame the Pink Ranger, but she's like, not my style. And it also fits because she's clearly this no nonsense athlete that's like, I don't want to be encumbered in it. Like, it fits the personality we've seen it for so far. Like I worry about getting the job done. That's the most important thing. Like, so yeah, it was so good. And unfortunately earlier today, before I saw this episode, everything on Twitter and Facebook was just like, yay, the skirt. They did the skirt. And I was like, okay, so I kind of knew it was coming, but I understand that everyone's excited about it because yes.
Yeah, it was awesome. This fight was pretty cool.
This fight I liked a lot.
Javi is a swordsman in his spare time because the duo between the two of them reminded me of Super Mega Force, but the Sentai footage in a good way. Where
I guess where they're trading weapons and stuff.
Yeah, they would swap weapons a lot, and somebody would have two swords.
She throws the skirt like it's a cape. Yeah, but I do like she throws it to him, and like that's the brother-sister bond. Fair enough, but you're right. Like he's good enough to use two swords. How? I don't know. She picks up her javelin, which is perfectly matched to her suit.
Yeah,
and I'm guessing in the Sentai that was her like special weapon. In this world, though, it's like that's just a regular javelin.
I think this is all American footage.
All of it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that was cool too, where she spun her sword around on the javelin and chucked it up. She did a lot of goofy, like different stuff, and then she jumps up on the thing. Like I liked it though. I like how her style was kind of more flashy. They both get a good introduction into like the fight. Here's where she's like sitting up there. He's like, "What are you doing up there?" "Oh, just hanging around." And that's kind of a cheesy joke, but it didn't really bother me. What was I going to? Oh, the javelin. I don't know what the origin is in Sentai. Maybe it's a special weapon she has. In this, it was just a regular javelin from her school. So it should be breaking. It shouldn't be like my headcanon is that she just got powered up and it's important to her. And like she infused it with like morphin grid energy and it worked as a regular weapon because of that. A morphin weapon, I should say.
I just didn't care.
All right.
Which is so funny because normally I would.
I had an explanation and everything. All right, whatever.
The thing that I did like, speaking of explanations, is they fight, and then he goes, when you fight a monster long enough, here's what happens.
Yes, because it explains, like right here. Because it explains, he looks so awesome.
Yeah, he
because
does.
It explains, because we were like, well, how does sports change? And I guess it's just when you fight them long enough. That's
And then I love how Javi's like, well, I didn't think he was going to shrink.
Yeah. Also, Green had some good jokes when she was fighting the monsters. I'm forgetting him now, but it was like, he's like, "Oh, you hurt me." And she's like, "Oh, I hurt a monster. Good." Like she had like a much more sarcastic tone than the rest of them.
Spider-Man like banter.
Yeah, I'm liking Green. I mean, there's nobody I don't like, but it like I'm not sure Blue is my favorite anymore. Put it that way. Like now it's things are shifting. I don't know. I kind of like Green. I kind of like Red more. Green. I like her sarcastic take. Like I'm a sucker for that. Also, they all went into the cockpit, even though Green and Black don't
Loved
yet
it.
have. Yeah, it made sense. And it is funny too because they were like, "Hey, are we gonna get Zords?" Like, well, whatever, we'll figure that out later.
And then I love Zeto is just like, "You guys really love Zords, man."
Yeah, thinking it's like a human thing, but but also headcanon. They went into the Megazord, arguably so they could be protected because there's a giant fight about to happen. My thought is, even though they didn't put new Zords in, they added power. You know what I mean? There's 5 of them there now. They put all their swords in, and it's just extra energy, and it made their Megazord that much stronger, is my thought.
Yeah, because they all fought in unison, so I think it's a very symbiotic kind of thing.
Agreed. And then they succeeded in getting in the Sporix, which, again, they started off kind of failing a few times, and now they're succeeding, well, in 4 episodes. Now they're succeeding all the time. And they do mention that the Tiger and the Stego keys would be the ones that the Tiger and the Stego Zords would be the ones that they would get. I didn't look at the designs. I'm assuming Tiger is green, but I actually don't know. I'm just kind of looking now.
Yeah.
Okay. If that's true, that's kind of cool because the saber-toothed tiger from the very first season, and there was the skirt thing, so it's like coming full circle with the tiger. That I like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's also cool that that was just for the American stuff, which is also interesting because same parallels. But I think with this, like, I liked how they did at least one change in the Zord fight where it's drill, knee, sword, majig.
Yeah.
Just did that once. And then the sword being the sword finisher, also a big fan of that.
Yes.
One thing I found interesting that is looking a little bit further ahead just because we know because of the flashback is the Gold Ranger has like a signature blaster, which I think will be a funny dichotomy to their swords. So I'm looking forward to that being a thing of just like, oh, look, Gunsman battles again. That's all we needed.
The 6 usually comes in and is like super strong right there.
Yeah. Just like.
Here's a part I didn't love. Again, it wasn't like a deal breaker thing, but at the end here, it's like, oh, by the way, here's a dinosaur cyborg, and oh, by the way, Zeto is a knight and he's an alien, and they're like, oh, that's crazy, and oh, this and that, and hey, maybe we'll get Zords, and blah 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 blah. All this is happening, and literally then Javi's like, oh, we didn't meet our deadline on that story. Oh my gosh, how am I gonna get money to buy my keytar? Really? Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah,
everything, like, not just becoming a Power Ranger, but like in the last 2 minutes, you learned that there's aliens and dinosaurs and cyborgs and and you're worried about a keytar? Like, come on.
Because responsibilities are what are important, and that's the message we're sending.
It's not a responsibility. He didn't say, I need money to fix my car to help my dad, or I got to get to school.
That is interesting. I overlooked it just because I was like, oh, pretty good episode, but yeah, that is kind of odd. It's like, this interview, man. Oh, jeez.
I feel like what would have been better to place that earlier, where when he was going to get involved, he'd be like, oh, I should do something. Oh, no, but then I'll blow it. I won't be able to get to my keytar. It's like, well, this is more important. Like, it should have, like, he maybe have that thought, but then realize, well, I got to do the right thing. And so, and it didn't make him a bad person or anything. It's like, I can't imagine anybody I've ever met worrying about the thing they wanted to buy as a luxury after becoming a Power Ranger and being in a Zord and literally meeting a dinosaur and an alien. Like,
especially a keytar.
Yeah, well, I'm not even gonna get into this.
Hey, what would you rather have? A keytar or this knowledge of Power Ranger powers?
Right. Yeah.
Nick.
Well, I don't know. Do I get a Zord? Is a Zord coming? Because then I'm not sure. And not even a keytar, but just a job that he could use to buy a keytar. It was, so then that I thought that was the very end, but it wasn't, because we have another section with your buddy Jayborg. This one was worse. This was the worst.
Terrible.
Yeah. She's talking about, the teleprompter's working, but she's like, don't
saw the electricity danger, and I'm like, no, please don't.
But they did. And it went on way too long.
Yeah.
And I do like at the end, she's like, that was shocking. And then her boss says, nice recovery. So I like that there was a little, that part. But here's the part I don't like. Everybody's laughing. And which they're not showing everybody laughing, but it makes me wonder, like, is she supposed to be sentient? Is she supposed to feel pain? Are we supposed to care about her? Like, if she's literally an automaton with no soul and just programming, then, like, I'm not invested at all. But they've presented it as though she has a bit of a personality. She's trying her best, but she's just not that great of a robot. And, like, so if she has any kind of sentience, everyone's laughing at her in pain, being shocked. That seems cruel. That that you're laughing at them.
Here's the one thing that would redeem this, and it's never going to happen. So I'm saying it in episode 4.
Say it.
She is secretly like a mole for one of the bad guys and ends up gaining all this information from reporting on the Ranger stuff and then using it against them.
That would be amazing. And it would justify everything. Her ridiculous behavior, because, like, she wasn't built, like, who knows how she was built, and then she's not a good reporter. Yeah, that would be great. That'd be a great twist. You're right. They'll never do it.
Yep.
But that would be great. Or yeah. So she does her little thing that was the worst joke of the show.
Yep.
That also, again, made me feel morally conflicted. Like, should we be laughing at her? That seems wrong.
It was like, wasn't there a Ninja Steel episode we reviewed a while back where like they ate like bad blueberries and like got huge, and then they're like, "Oh, look at these guys! They might die."
Right? It's like, how is that funny? That should be horrifying.
And knee slap, instantly cut to SpongeBob.
It was similar to that. I ended the thing over there, but then what I did like at the end was that Javi and Zeto were like, "Well, we didn't turn in our assignments," and she's like, "No, I don't want to hear any more." Blah blah blah. And she's like, Javi, I saw that you tried to protect the thing and you put that above, so you do deserve the job. And I liked that a lot because usually it's this thing of like, I have this secret superhero identity, and by trying to do the right thing, it screws up my life. And it's like, no, she saw you did the right thing, and she's a good enough person that, you know, even though she abuses her robot assistant, she's going to give you the job. And I thought that was cool. And Zeto's like, you got the right man for the job or whatever. And like, so
yeah, Zeto was like bummed and then instantly went, I'm happy for you, man.
Yes. And realistically, Zeto probably wouldn't be a very good reporter. He's I was say he's an alien, just like Clark Kent.
I know.
But Clark Kent did grow up on Earth at least. So
yeah.
All right. So that's the episode. Overall, I liked it. It didn't have some of the highs that some of the other episodes has, but I feel like it was consistently good. The humor across the board, with the exception of some of the Jayborg stuff, was all good. The fights were good. The introduction was fun. I'll give it, if it was a regular episode, not an introduction of new Rangers, I would give it an A. As just like a regular filler episode, like it's as good as it could be. Because it was supposed to be a little bit more exciting with the I'll give it a B+. Like, it was good. I would like to have seen it been a little bit more punchy, but I don't have any major complaints. Like, it was mostly good.
I'm giving it a B simply because the Jayborg stuff dropped it.
See, I'm just kind of letting that go because it was less bad than the other episodes and the other humor was good. So I'm like,
it's just another thing that like bothers me the more I see it. And it really is upsetting where I'm like, don't make this a thing. And then the more it happens, the more of a thing it becomes, which perpetuates my frustration. That's my only issue with the show so far. Anything with Jayborg is just awful. There's not a good thing that has come of her being on the show. It's my hill to die on. I hate Jayborg as a character. It's just terrible. Just so bad. Everything else is good. The humor's good everywhere else. Void Knight's cool. Like, he's nefarious and we haven't seen him go off yet. Like, the stuff with the Sporix is cool. They are very tongue-in-cheek about it because they understand some of the ridiculous kind of things about it. Rangers are cool. Getting the powers, everything's cool except for Jayborg.
Sorry, what were you saying?
That felt better.
I saw you going, and I'm like, all right, let me just let him, because I certainly don't hate Jayborg as much as you, but I'm not going to sit here and argue that you're wrong. We need Jayborg, is like, but so fine.
That felt like a very Animal House moment for me. What is that? Stop it! He's rolling.
So that's it for that episode. A piece of Power Ranger news I wanted to talk about. We don't do news a lot, but it's interesting the way this came about. I'll throw this up here. New comic coming out. It's a one-shot for Phantom Ranger, which I'm very excited. A lot of people are, obviously, because we don't know much about Phantom Ranger, so it's like a wide-open story. Where did they come from? What are they doing? Who are they? We might find all these things out. We might not. Cool cover. Now, here's the thing. I'm an artist. I'm in a lot of artist groups and comic book writer groups and things like that. I don't know this person. I don't want to make it seem like I'm friends with them or know them really at all. But Frank Gogol, and I might be mispronouncing his name. That's how well I don't know him. I saw him post this before I saw any of the news about it. He's like, hey, and he's written some indie comics and stuff, and I've seen him around. And he's like, check out this cover art. And I'm like, that's awesome. What is that for? And then he's like, oh yeah, I'm writing this. I'm like, what? Like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And so that's how I found out about this, was just somebody in one of my groups is the writer of the Phantom Ranger book. And I guess these are some variant covers and stuff. So I would have got this anyway. I would have got it because I've been getting the Power Ranger one shots so I would have got it anyway. I would have got it because it's Phantom Ranger. And then because I sort of kind of in a weird sideways way know this guy, then I would have got it as well. So I'm pretty excited for it. How about you?
I am too. I think what they're building up to now with the introduction of some in-space elements coming up, and then obviously this kind of tying it all together with the Imperials, which is part of the current arc in, I believe, the Power Rangers. So my understanding is this is kind of the one shot that ties into Power Rangers,
Okay.
And then the Heir to the Empire, I believe, is what the other one's called, which is Astronema. And
Wait, really?
Ties into Mighty Morphin.
That's called Heir to the Empire, literally, like the Star Wars story?
Oh, no, I think you confused me because we were talking about Star Wars before the show.
Okay, so that's kind of a famous title to...
Or maybe it's like Heir of Darkness or something, but it's something about Astronema when she's younger and interacts with the Mighty Morphin Rangers. Gotcha. So those, I think, are now, because we had one, we're going to have this other one, and then eventually maybe they'll all tie together again. I don't know. But either way, I'm excited. And then
me too. And it also, he's fighting the Tenga Warriors, which are coming out in the Lightning Collection soon, which also makes you think, maybe this is,
because we've talked about this many, many, many times. The Phantom Ranger as a figure can go in anything.
Go anything.
G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Power Rangers, Marvel Legends, Derp. I don't know, but
Derp, definitely Derp. Fortnite, Ultraman,
exactly.
yeah. You throw it, it could definitely fit in.
So
I'm excited that for multiple reasons.
Yes.
The other thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say one thing that came out a couple weeks ago that we didn't touch upon, but I wanted to bring back up in the aether is Gazbot's interviewed a couple people for this project. We both have interviewed somebody for this project. So Power Rangers Bloodline of the Grid, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Bloodline of the Grid, episode 1 finally came out within the last few weeks. I don't remember exactly when, but it's got Colin Bass, who we've interviewed together on the show. It's got Patrick, I'm forgetting his last name, but he's Psycho Red.
No, it's oh my God. You forget it.
Can you tell we're bad with names? And then created by / writer Christopher Kamen Lee, aka Andros, in there.
DJ Rivers also as TJ's
we haven't spoken to,
son,
but he's in a lot of projects too. He's solid. But I watched it. I'm going to be honest. I had pretty high expectations of it, and I told Colin Bass kind of on my own. I'm like, not to seem like I'm pandering to you, but this was one of my favorite fights. Patrick David, thank you. One of my favorite fights in all Power Rangers fan films I've seen was in this first episode.
I will be completely transparent. I haven't watched it yet.
I can tell.
That's why I kind of wish you didn't bring it up. Because
it's really cool. I know in the past,
I thought we might on a hiatus week go over it in depth. So
I know that's the thing. Now that it's been going more and more since the release, I thought I'd bring it up for those who either forgot it came out, didn't know it came out, whatever.
Definitely worth checking out. I plan on checking it out, but I've been busy, but B, I thought, we'll probably do an episode on this. So I'll wait and be fresh when I watch it.
Part of the reason I brought it up is for your next piece of news, where I know we're not going to talk about this episode and review it.
I don't know what you think my next piece of news is, but I was going to say we have another interview coming up.
Exactly. So we don't really have hiatuses.
Oh, well, well, I don't even know if we're going to have a Dino Fury episode that week or not, because I'm not sure what their schedule is. But the next piece of news is specific to us. We have another interview coming up with Vrak. This is Jason Hood, the voice actor of Vrak, which it was hooked up for us through the Morphin Network. So appreciation of Ryan. He got us in contact with them.
Thank you again.
But in the past, and I don't remember who, but we have had specific requests to get Jason Hood, who played Vrak. If you were one of those people, let us know in the comments. Hopefully you're still watching. Hopefully you see when we do this. I think we're doing it live. I'm 99% sure we're doing it live. I will let you guys know once I confirm with Jason. We're definitely doing the interview. It's going to be Tuesday the 30th, 6:30 p.m. California time. That is guaranteed. It's happening. We've talked to him. But I'm not 100% sure if it's live or not. So, if you have any questions, throw them out ahead of time, or try to show up that day if it does end up being live. More details as we get closer, but it is confirmed, so I can talk about it. So that's what we're doing. So I guess you're saying that you think we're going to fill all our hiatus episode slots with interviews, I guess.
Probably, yeah.
Could happen.
I don't see us doing a fan film review for a while, just because a good problem we've been having is we have a lot of cool people to talk to, and we have Dino Fury back. So
yeah, well, I guess without spoiling anything, Jason Hood is confirmed. We have another person or two we're talking to that are not confirmed, so I can't talk about them. But you're right. We have a few people that we might be interviewing. I guess with Dino Fury, though, I'm thinking like with Beast Morphers, they did what, 6, 8 episodes, and then we're off for months. So considering we know that they're still working on season 2 right now, filming or whatever, and possibly doing post-production or whatever. So they might need that lead time, especially with all the delays and stuff they've had. So I guess I'm assuming, based on nothing other than just my own educated guess, that we're going to get like 4 more episodes and then have months in between. Maybe not, but if we do, then I figured, okay, time to hit up, Shattered Grid and Unworthy and Bloodlines and all that stuff, because we'll have the time to do it.
Yep.
If
and
not,
we still could. I'm not saying we won't, but wanted to float it back out there to y'all.
Fair enough. I don't know. I think that's about it for me. Anything else you want to throw out there?
No, kind of like we were saying, Power Ranger comics are good. If you haven't read them, read them. Oh, so I touched upon this in the past, but actually just had a conversation with Gazbot about it. Give me 1 sec. My computer just said low battery. Just want to make sure it doesn't die mid-sentence. So
that was super quick. Okay.
I know. So I'm subscribed to Comixology Unlimited. What it is it's a monthly subscription to the Comixology digital comics app, and it's like $7 or $10 a month. I don't 100% remember the price because I have it on auto renew. But within that, you have a certain amount of comics and trade paperbacks that are at no additional charge that are included in your subscription. The reason I bring it up to all y'all, pretty much all of Mighty Morphin and most, if not all, of Go-Go is included in the subscription to read digitally. So
do you get a referral if somebody like signs up and puts your name in? Do you get like a referral bonus?
I don't believe so.
All right, so there's no incentive for him to be there telling you this except that check.
Yeah, because I know honestly, it's one of those things that I love talking to you guys in the comments. And Gazbot's a little bit behind on the Ranger comics right now, so I can't always talk to him.
I'm a lot behind. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to get it out there because I love these books, and anybody who reads them, especially as part of the show, like. I'm about it. So.
If you want to talk about it in the comments, just do it on one of the comic videos he's put up, even if it's not a current one or whatever. Just
That's true.
You can put it here, but then I will probably not get involved, and Big Dog might not see it because the way it works is only one of us has access to the channel, so I get notifications when there's comments. He does not.
Yes.
So he has to just kind of check, or if I see one, I'll point it out to him. But if I see stuff that looks spoilery or comic booky or things that like I don't really want to know about yet, I just don't read them. I'm like, let me skip that, and so then he might not see it. So. Yeah.
So really quick, just because I looked, Shattered Grid is free. Beyond the Grid is free. The Soul of the Dragon graphic novel is free. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Archive Collection of Volume 1 and 2 are on there. The Lost Chapters, which is like the annuals of the Ranger Comics, Volume 1 and 2 are there. And then Volume 1 through 11 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers included. And that's just Mighty Morphin. That's not including... Go-Go, which they have, I'm looking at that right now. That has volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe there are more, but like
this is getting boring.
Sorry, a ton. So long story long, if you are interested in the comics and you have some free time, you can spend $10 to $20 and read the entire series digitally. If you're tight on cash, that's what I would recommend.
Anyway, I've been Gazbot.
And do it. I am the Big Dog. Please read the comments and comments and tell us down below.
And
to the power.
To the power.
See you guys later.
I appreciate that you want to tell people about it and excited, but you literally just started sounding like you were reading a catalog. I couldn't take it.
It was catalog-y, but in a good way.
No, there's no.
It's value, Gazbot. It's value.
Save it for your comments. Save it for your comments section there, comic boy.
The entire series, y'all. Anyways, man, I want a new Lightning Collection figure. It's been a while for me.
I got In Space Yellow recently as a gift from Tech Advisor Airzuki, and it's pretty awesome.
I saw. I'm a little jealous.
Last time I looked, it was less than retail on Amazon.
I saw people turn it into a custom Toker Yellow by just like putting stickers on.
Tokyo?
Yeah,
like
Tokyo. Yeah, that one. The train one.